Welcome to this podcast is Uncalled For.
Well, the name of this podcast is Stuff Uncalled For?
This podcast is uncalled for.
Podcast, alright. Well,
what's uncalled for about it?
What we doing at Tijuana?
And you're like, what did you just say?
It's a bit of a slap in the face and an insult.
And then look, take you back home.
Oh, that's going to be great for the football chart.
Yeah, it's kind of, what's that character from Guardians of the Galaxy who takes everything literally?
Because it always happens. It always happens.
That is uncalled for, Michael.
And now, your host for this podcast, Mike Chernevsky.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. And I have a very special guest here today. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for inviting me to be in your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thrilled.
Yeah. So, for those aware, we've known, 11 years now?
11 years.
Yeah.
Going on 11 years. Going on 12.
Yeah.
Yep. We met through Independent Filmmakers Coalition of Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
It was on a Wednesday night. We were talking about driving to, I think, Topeka, was it? For the taxpayers' credits.
I think it was Jefferson City.
Jefferson
Yeah,
City.
because they're lobbying Missouri politicians for that. Good luck getting that done in Kansas.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. No way. We have some of the lowest rate, nationally lowest cost of filmmaking in the United States of America, but we have the fewest number of films made here because of the tax credits.
Mm-hmm.
Am I saying that right? Tax credits?
Yeah, tax credits. Yeah.
Not enough tax credits to produce film in Kansas. Now, Missouri is more of an arts-driven town. In fact, I've noticed this even at the high school level, and I am a big theater person. I was a thespian all 4 years in high school. I sang competitively in choir in high school all 4 years. And I did it in college, too, and then got involved in film, and now sing in Sweet Caroline as a band and as a solo artist. And I think it's so important to have the arts in schools. I mean, I think it's so super important to have arts in both high school, definitely in high school. Even in grade school, it's important, but you can take external lessons. By the time you're in high school, it should be through the classes. Mm-hmm. So the arts, theater, drawing, jewelry making, fashion design, all of it. Music, performance, composition, etc. I think it's so important to have the arts through school. So Missouri is notorious for having arts in schools. We have the Paseo, which is an arts school, performing arts school. We have UMKC, which has Williams Henry Dance Theater. It has the Missouri Repertory Theater. It has choir. It has modern dance classes. It has ballet dance classes. It has sports too. It's got a gym that you can use. It's got huge libraries. It has its own block school of management. I mean, it's got everything that you could need to thrive in an artistic environment and to comprehend your environment too. Like, one thing I wish that I had would be a law degree and an arts degree, so that I could cover like copyright laws and just even contracts. Like, so person A, guitar player person A is going to show up here for rehearsals on Thursdays from 7 to 9, every single Thursday this whole 5-month period, and we're going to tour for this period amount of time, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then if you don't fill out your obligations of your contract, then you're fired. But it's really difficult for me to do so because people just kind of walk all over you in this town like, oh yeah, I just didn't feel like it, or yeah, well, you know, I was busy stealing furniture, or yeah, well, I was busy getting high, dude. I don't know, it's retarded stuff like that. And that's on the Kansas side. It's just, I noticed a real laziness because it's not through the schools. So it's almost frowned upon. It's almost kind of like this fear of the arts in Kansas.
Yeah, I agree. That is one of my biggest problems with our former governor, is that one of the first things he did when taking office was get rid of the Kansas Arts Commission. And there have been citizens, myself to a lesser extent, fighting to try to fix that and everything. So it's definitely been a struggle. That said, we're both products of the Shawnee Mission School District, and both, I would think, at least my experience, I was exposed to music classes and everything. I played viola in middle school and elementary school. And
Neat. Viola's such a pretty instrument.
Mm-hmm.
I played the cello in college.
Oh, all right. That's something new I learned about you just now. So.
Oh yeah, I played cello. I played cello 2 semesters, African drums 2 semesters. I played guitar. I sang gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And then I got asked to be in a gospel choir where I was the only white girl in like 50 to 100 person choir. We performed down at Cowtown Hollow, I think it's called, in San Francisco, California, which is now the new baseball stadium.
Okay.
So.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
I know, that was really cool. I love music. It's so much fun to study, and it's so much fun to be in the recording studio and to hear, like, the other people's sounds, other students' sounds are going on around you. So, like, I can be playing cello. There can be a punk rock band to my right. There can be an opera singer to my left. There can be a jazz pianist straight ahead. I mean, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just so exciting to be around that type of environment. I feel that way when we get together with film, too. I think it's exciting. Everybody's got their little riff. Like, I met this girl who does makeup, and she does makeup for film.
Mm-hmm.
And I was checking out her Instagram page after the meeting. Independent Filmmakers Coalition of Kansas City's meetings Wednesdays once a month, the third Wednesday of every month at the Buffalo Room, which is now Westport Bowery.
Okay.
And that's from, I think, 7 to 9? Is that right?
I think that's about right.
6:30 to 8:30 or 7 to 9.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right. It's been a while since I've been to an IFC meeting, but then again, I have a good excuse.
Yeah, that's true.
It's called working up in the Northland.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Long drive.
Oh yeah. I was fortunate enough to get home last week with the windstorm and everything. So.
Yeah, we had a big party going on that night. I didn't make it out either. I was worried about the windstorm too. We're worried about tornadoes way out where I live.
Mm-hmm.
I moved out of the city because of my mom's health, and then my mom asked me to stay close to her, and I figured I would give it a try. And at first, I hated it. I hated everything about the suburbs, and then I kind of started to grow on me, like, less exciting than the city. I can go days without passing another musician or another filmmaker or another actor or another model or another photographer or another anything that you want to think of in the arts, another graphic artist, another painter. But on the other hand, it's quiet. There's tons of sleep time, and it takes me out of the crime aspect of living in a big city. Mm-hmm. Not that this is a big city, but it feels like it to me. Went to living in it.
We definitely live in the big city. Yeah, we're both suburbanites, but I think we're both city people.
Definitely. You cannot hold a grudge. You have to keep rolling with the punches in a city, because if you pause for just a second, someone right behind you is going to step right up to fill your spot. So it's nice to learn forgiveness and to keep rolling with it. So one thing that I realized that I was not doing well was not rolling with it well. So I figured I needed time out of the immediate city. And then the city grew. Right when I moved, there was the Royals and then the Chiefs, big wins. And the city streets came alive, and everyone filled the city streets and everything like that. And I felt like I was missing out on something, but now that we have the T-Mobile Center and we have the Truman music venue, we still have the Record Bar that's downtown. The Czar Bar closed. Let's see, Winslow's Barbecue is closed. Mike Kelly's West Sider's still there.
Isn't Winslow's Barbecue just down the street from your place?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. That's nice. I didn't know that. Where is it?
It's 75th and...
Oh, no, that is Hayward's.
Oh, Hayward's.
Barbecue.
Wasn't Hayward's another place you kind of like? Or?
Hayward's I love, but not for music. Sorry, I meant his music venues.
Okay.
That I've been naming. Sorry.
Yeah.
Music
right.
venues and a big list. No, I love Hayward's. They have the best sweet potato fries.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all psyched out. We just came from Loose Park where we're playing soccer, kickback.
Yep.
We have I just got a new soccer ball because my dodgeball had been deflated by the last times that we were playing soccer together.
Yeah.
And it is a fun ball, but the soccer ball is definitely fun to kick as well because it's thicker.
Mm-hmm.
It goes less up high into the air. You get much less air with it, but you can still get the satisfactory crunch of your week's stress and anxieties out of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's a very well put together ball, and kudos to Dick's Sporting Goods for
thank you, Dick's Sporting Goods, definitely.
Yeah.
So it's a gorgeous night in Kansas City. We're about to see the sunset over Loose Park, and there's a ton of pedestrians out, ton of dog walkers, ton of joggers, ton of tourists probably, ton of residents, local residents. Just on the block is the plaza, which will have, it is the sister city to Seville, Spain, Sevilla, and it has Christmas tree lights, decorations on it, and it went on Thanksgiving, and every single, I think there's like thousands, if not a million bulbs, or do you know how many?
Minimum a million, I would say.
Minimum a million bulbs.
They literally get every single building in the plaza, it seems like.
Yeah, and it looks so gorgeous, all lit up like that at night, and that's really special to our city. And then Crown Center is also special to Kansas City, and that is where the mayor's Christmas tree is. And I want to make one shout out to a special Kansas City resident named Strickland, who was found innocent after serving a 46
I heard about that, yeah.
prison sentence for a crime that he did not commit, and he is deemed innocent and has been released from prison, and very last minute he said that he was watching television when it came on that he was going to be released, and he could hear people cheerleading for him. And he just kind of sat there like in stunned disbelief. I know, it's so amazing. So the mayor, Quentin Lucas of Kansas City, Missouri, who's an excellent mayor, I have to say he's one of my favorites we've had. But he called Strickland down to Mayor's Christmas tree and had him flip the switch for the lights to go on. Isn't that nice?
That's really cool, yeah.
It's something that I've noticed a lot since Kamala Harris took office. Now, whether or not it's up to her, I don't know, but Aziz was found innocent of assassinating Malcolm X. And then there was another case, the Groveland Four, I believe they're called. And this is a group of 4 men that were accused of gang raping a woman who had needed help with her car. And they were all found to be innocent. Now, in their case, all 4 men had already passed away, but their names are now exonerated. So this is really a special time for to follow cases like false imprisonment or thrown jury, hung jury, false evidence, false DNA readings, no DNA. False accusations, etc. So it's really exciting just to watch everybody get freed and get a second chance at life. I sound so naive about it, but it is really amazing and powerful to know that people do get... think of how many people we've lost simply due to racism.
Oh yeah, no question.
Just like, the white guy could be sitting there holding the weapon and the African-American guy walks in and says, do you need help there? And then he gets handcuffed and thrown in prison for life or on death row simply because of the color of the skin. Some of the most powerful images I think about the civil rights movement would be African Americans in suits getting attacked by German Shepherd dogs. How outrageous is this? A German Shepherd dog has more civil rights than you in a suit, dressed up, looking your finest, in your best manners. You're not even allowed to drink water in public. Wow. I know, it's so disgusting. We have no idea what it's like. We're so spoiled as Caucasians.
True.
We're lucky. True. We have our own battles, though, but still we're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
How long is this podcast?
As long as you want.
Okay, great.
Yeah. All right, so you want to talk a little about music as well? So.
Sure, yeah. Well, my band is called the Sweet Caroline, and we have 2 new songs coming out. One is called, well, I just released a new one last December called Why Is It Raining? And it is, I guess it's meant to be an R&B song, but it turned out kind of poppy, R&B, dancey. It's not electronica, which is nice. I like how it turned out. Mixed Emotions Music wrote the music for it, and I wrote the lyrics and the melody. And it is released on Spotify and iTunes. It's also on numberonemusic.com, which is a great website that I love to use because fan mail goes straight to me as opposed to through the site itself. So I don't get 1 to 2 notifications. I only get the 1, so people can't delete it and answer back as me. It's only me who is in charge of the fan mail. And the listens to it they have a little pop-up player. So if you hit play on Number One Music site, there's this little nerdy pop-up player that pops up. And then you can play songs while you type on it. That way you can have access to like whatever's on your iTunes or whatever you want to listen to while you do your work. So anyway, so that song is coming out. Then in January, I'll be working on a track that is entitled Home, which I wrote about after National Moment of Silence 2014, which I spoke at to protest, well, not to protest, but to bring attention to police brutality survivors. Mostly thought of as Black, but also including myself. In 2001, I was living in West Hollywood, and I got attacked by South Van Nuys policemen. Mine was to critical injury. Luckily, I was not injured that badly. I got away with my stomach being pumped, my broken nose, and a cracked rib, and a twisted arm. I had like 30 to 40 bruises, so they took photos of that. I picked out the cops who I felt were responsible through a 2-way mirror, met with an attorney, and then it didn't go anywhere because of my poor health. So, now, different people, I was reading online. It was 10 years to the date of the Rodney King riots, and so they were out rioting in the street, the police were, and they attacked me to critical injury, and then the EMT saved my life. So when the EMT pulled me into the hospital, on the stretcher they had this name tag around their neck, and it said, "Next, please." And so she's like, "Next, please," and she flashed it at her name at her, and then I went back under again. That's something I remembered, so I named my record that. The one that came out in 2015. That is called Sweet Caroline Next, Please. And then my first record, Sweet Caroline Sky, was dedicated mostly to my sister, but also to my family for a Siamese cat that we had named Sky, which my sister loved to pet, and she would draw. She was always artistic, too. And I would draw and sing and listen to music and pet Nellis. So nerdy stuff like that. Let's see, Sky's photograph is taken in San Francisco, in the Mission, right in front of the mural project, by a photographer called Blue Aria. And when I first released the record, it only said Blue Aria on the disc, or on the cover art. It didn't say Sweet Caroline Sky, because nervously I had uploaded the wrong album art and then didn't bother to go back and check it out. So, Sky was photographed by Blue Aria in November of 2009, down by the Mural Project, which is super important too for civil rights. Graffiti, and shows Martin Luther King Jr., Frida Kahlo, Malcolm X, John F. Kennedy Sr., tons of, let's see who else, Gandhi, let's see, can't think of who else. Not enough women. Definitely not enough women are depicted on it, but where's the next Asian? Oh, Buddha. Buddha was depicted on it too. I was going to say, where's the next Asian superhero? One of them is Lucy Liu, by far. She is one of my favorite actresses in Kill Bill. I love her with her sword fighting. Anyways, but not about acting. Okay, what was I talking about? Oh, my music.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I released Be My Fantasy, which is recorded with Mixed Emotions Music. And he's out of Boston, Massachusetts. He's excellent. I really recommend working with him if you've got a melody or a lyric in your head and you're looking for someone to compose and produce the music. As long as I'm saying that right. Then that photograph is taken by a photographer that I worked with called Nomad Glam. And then Home doesn't have artwork to it yet. I took a trip to John Muir Beach when we were doing our, what was it called, when the government shut down? The government shut down. We went to John Muir Beach and John Muir Woods. A friend of mine and I took a trip out there, out west. And so I took a photograph of a candlestick on a wooden table with some really vibrant fuchsia or magenta flowers on the mantle. And so that might be the album cover art for Home. And then Why Is It Raining is a photograph by Color Me Gone, located in Kansas City, Missouri. And his work turned out just beautifully. He photographed me in the middle of the street in a long white petticoat. I kind of look like Carrie Bradshaw. I have on a white petticoat with a pink tank top, so silk tank. But I do really appreciate his work. He's been one of my favorite photographers who I've worked with. For modeling, let's see, I've done websites, the Wade Brothers, a book, just another design guy's book. He took a white piece of paper and a white background, and then he threw paint. He had us paint ourselves with it. So he gave us paint, and some of us threw it on ourselves, some poured it on ourselves, some brushed it on ourselves, some did finger painting. It was really kind of a cool project, and then he took photos, printed them out into glossies, and put it into a book. But let's see, I've also done business cards for Sunny's Auto Detailing. Let's see, what else have I done? Gallery work, an art department, the art department's modeling classes, live modeling. Being drawn is a unique process too, because each person has their own take on what art is in these upper level art classes. To me, it was always just sketching with a pencil or with a charcoal pencil, you know. But to these students, some of them have 3D rendering online. It's just amazing. Paintings, photography, etchings, sketches. Brilliant art classes. I loved it.
Cool.
So.
And I'm going to give a quick plug for your live music.
Oh, yeah. Thanks so much. Yeah, Mike's oftentimes been the only person in my audience, along with fan mail and hundreds of thousands of screaming young fans.
Yeah.
Mike has often been the solitary figure in my audience. Go figure.
Yeah. It's usually me and probably a couple of people who are actually working the venue.
Definitely, like the sound guy, the pressing. But I think that's just that venue. That venue is actually now closed, and now it's a jazz bar. My last concert was pretty neat. It was at NAMI. I think that's the North American Mental Illness or Mental Health Institute.
Something like that.
North American Alliance for the Mentally Ill. And it was out at Topeka, Kansas. Some of my favorite concerts were at the Czar Bar or at Mike Kelly's West Sider. Mike Kelly's West Sider is a rock and roll or blues rock bar, like Knuckleheads or like Mama Ray's Blues Jam. Over at BB's Lawnside Bar and Grill. Some of those open mics have been really instrumental in my career because I've met key people that I've worked with over the years. One of them, I'm so excited to be going back to the recording studio too. I have a new song that I'm finishing up the vocals for, Home, which I mentioned. And we are going back into the recording studio, Weights and Measures Sound Lab. Myself, actually I said we, but no, I meant me. I'm going back into the recording studio in January, so that single should be out by the end of January. And then I handed a new lyric and melody called Promised Land to a young woman who, I'm not sure what the name of her company is. I'll look it up and then I'll mention it here coming up on a tweet or on a Reverb Nation post. But she is a young woman who has graduated with her master's degree in music composition and music scoring. Very bright, really talented. I gave her a piece of music, Why Is It Raining Today, and asked her to score it. She scored it and got it back to me within the week. So she's also going to be composing the musical aspects to this track. So I cannot wait to hear what she comes up with. I've never heard her work. I don't have any idea what it'll sound like. I know it'll sound fresh and young and invigorating, and it'll sound beautiful. She's beautiful. It's going to be great. So I'm super thrilled for that new project. So I've got 2 new projects coming up. I don't have any concerts planned. I don't have a record label. I don't have a tour. The furthest away I made it was Miami live event. And then Pasadena, California with the Academia for International Radio Play. We went out to Pasadena twice for a gala event. Got to meet musicians from Australia, from Jamaica, from Kenya, from South Africa, from London, from San Francisco, from Boston. Lots from Boston. I didn't really realize this, but a lot of major rock bands have come out of Boston, Massachusetts. I sound naive because I always thought that it was a conservative city, but it's really not. It's got a lot of great music coming out of it.
Yeah.
So Boston might be a good place to go and perform. I would love to perform in Austin, Denver, Nashville, Memphis, and then Chicago, and take like a 5-city tour and do like a short brief tour there. As soon as I buy a car, that's what I'll do. I'll pack up and we'll go on a brief tour.
All right.
So that's about it. Let's see, music. There's something else I wanted to talk to you about. Film, no, nothing planned.
Yeah, definitely nothing planned on my end. So.
There's a movie that I've been wanting to make about jumping trains. It's going to be a love triangle. Maybe I've said too much about it, but it is going to be a short film that I will be directing and potentially acting in, although I'd rather direct someone else, but if I cannot get a female lead, because so far I don't know any female leads, then I will do it myself. I keep meeting these super talented people, though, with IFCKC, and over the years we've had so many famous actors and directors visit Kansas City. I don't want to name drop on any, but just tons of people visiting Kansas City and checking us out. So hopefully they will continue to push for tax credits, pushing for tax credits so that we can make movies in Kansas City, Missouri. Pushing for tax credits so we can make movies in Kansas City, Kansas. Pushing for a new soccer stadium for women. Pushing for a new arts community for me here in Kansas so I don't go half mad missing friends in Missouri. Although it's only a 10-minute drive right across state line.
Yeah.
Why, yes, it is. And I'm getting goofy, so I'm going to wrap it up. So
It's okay
thank you. I appreciate it.
It's okay to be goofy on this podcast.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on your podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
And remember...
Go ahead.
No, you. Thank you so much for a brief yet intriguing podcast with... This is just another podcast. Wait.
This podcast is uncalled for.
This podcast is uncalled for. Thank you. Chiming out.
Thank you, Caroline.
This podcast is Uncalled For is hosted, produced and edited by Mike Chernefsky. Opening music is Cool Hard Facts by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. The outro music for this episode is Pequeñas Guitarras by Mr. Smith, licensed under a Creative Commons CC 01.0 universal license. You can find Caroline's music at www.reverbnation.com/sweetcarolinesky. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast through your favorite podcasting platform. Like our Facebook page at facebook.com/uncalledforpodcast, and check out our blog with show notes at uncalledfor.home.blog. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time.